Dallas Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones recently made it clear that the team won't be actively pursuing in-season trades, despite facing key injuries and some early struggles in their 2024 campaign. With defensive stars Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence sidelined due to injury, the Cowboys are feeling the strain. Parsons, a versatile linebacker and one of the NFL's premier defensive players, is expected to miss at least one game, while Lawrence, a cornerstone defensive end, is likely headed to injured reserve and could be out for up to 8 weeks. The Cowboys' current 2-2 record leaves them in the mix within the NFC, but they haven't played up to the level of a dominant contender. Their offensive inconsistency, combined with their depleted defense, raises concerns about whether they can maintain a competitive edge over the next few weeks. However, despite these challenges, the Cowboys' front office is choosing to take a more conservative approach when it comes to improving their roster. In an interview with K&C Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan, Jones stated that the Cowboys would be keeping their lines of communication open around the league but emphasized that they won't be the ones initiating trade discussions. "I don't know, this time of year, that anyone's willing to trade their best players," Jones said, acknowledging the reality of trying to strike deals when other teams are still competing for postseason berths. While the Cowboys are not ruling out the possibility of making a move if the right opportunity comes along, Jones made it clear that the organization isn't planning to actively seek out trades. This approach is a stark contrast to the Cowboys' bold mid-season move in 2018, when they traded a first-round draft pick for wide receiver Amari Cooper. At that time, the Cowboys were struggling with a 3-4 record, and Cooper's arrival sparked a turnaround that saw the team finish 7-2 and win the NFC East. Cooper revitalized the offense and earned another Pro Bowl nod, making the trade look like a stroke of genius. But this time around, the Cowboys are taking a more passive stance. Jones explained that with the injuries to Parsons and Lawrence, teams around the league are already aware of the Cowboys' situation. He believes that if other teams are interested in making a deal, they will reach out to Dallas, but the Cowboys won't be actively calling around. "It's no secret to anyone in the league that we had 2 significant injuries in terms of Micah and D-Law," Jones said. "So people who might have an inkling to do something, I'm sure we'll hear from them, but for the most part, I think no one's willing to mail anything in right now." The Cowboys face a daunting stretch of games over the next 8 weeks, with 7 of their opponents having a combined record of 17-10 as of this writing. 5 of those teams made the playoffs last season, so it's clear that Dallas will need to play at a high level to remain competitive. However, without major upgrades to their roster, particularly at positions like wide receiver and running back where they've struggled, it's uncertain how the Cowboys will fare against this tough slate of opponents. While the Cowboys might have needs on both sides of the ball, Jones's comments suggest that the front office is content to play the waiting game, hoping that they can hang around the rim of the playoff race without making any drastic moves. They seem more focused on maintaining flexibility for future drafts rather than giving up valuable picks for short-term fixes. This approach leaves some fans and analysts questioning whether the Cowboys are doing enough to maximize their chances of success this season, especially in the highly competitive NFC. As the Cowboys prepare for their upcoming games without their 2 best defensive players, it remains to be seen whether this conservative strategy will pay off. The team is banking on the hope that their current roster can weather the storm and that any opportunities for improvement will come to them, rather than actively pursuing ways to bolster their squad mid-season. With no major trade moves expected, the Cowboys will have to rely on internal improvements and player development to stay in contention during this critical part of the season.